Sometimes you're just going to have to go through it. Hello, and thank you for watching. You know, sometimes things need to get worse before they can get better. If you've ever tried to get in shape, you know how hard it is those first 2 weeks. They can be a grind, right? But if you want to get stronger and you want to get in shape, you got to go through it. Also, if you want to get good grades, you know you're going to have to suffer through the discipline of keeping your head in the books, right? And if we want to get the American economy back on track, we're going to have to suffer through this inflation, then deflationary period. Unfortunately, there's no way around this. You know, well, we know at least that inflation has been kicking everybody's tail, right? So why don't we go ahead and take a look at the CPI report that came out earlier this month and try and diagnose it and break it down. So essentially, when looking at the CPI report, what it's saying is that all items year over year, this time last year compared to this time now, all items are roughly on an average of 6.5% higher. Okay. Now, then the report ends up breaking it down by sectors. As you can see right here, it breaks it down all the way. With that being said, if we keep taking a look at everything, food is up 10% over it was last year. Food at home, food from away, makes up the average of 10%. Look at this, fuel up 41% from last year at this time. If you go back to energy, utilities, I mean, you guys know this. There's nothing I got to tell you that you're not already feeling. But guess what? The Fed, the fact that they've been raising the actual Fed's funds rates has actually been working. And if you take a deeper look at this report, you can see that we're actually heading in the right direction. Because when you take a look at this, it's saying year over year over here. This is year over year. But over here, this is month over month. So if you take a look at December, we're actually trending negative 0.1% from last month. If you take a look at commodities, right? Energy down month over month, down 16% month over month. And in everything that's high or that's up, it's up by a little bit. It's not this huge 19.3%. It's up by 3%. Again, down. So when you're taking a look at this, there's a lot to look at, especially this negative 16% month over month. So it's 16% less in December than it was in November. And that's what that's trying to say. So essentially, the Fed funds rate looks like the fact that they've been raising it and the way that they've been raising it is really doing its job in curbing inflation. Now, at the same time, we also know that we are heading into a recessionary period. All right. We know that there's recessionary indicators that are out there. And let me go back to this. These are recessionary leading indicators. Every time, if you guys take a look here, every time you have not every single time, but for the most part, you see how there's a big dip right there. And in this gray bar, that gray bar shows the sign of recession. So we have another tip right here, gray bar, sign of recession. We have this huge tip. Now, this is 1980s. This is when Ronald Reagan had to take care of Carter's mess. But that's a huge recession. Let's take it back to 2008. Huge dip right there, recession. A little dip right here in 2000, right during COVID, recession. And guess what? We're right there at another tip. It looks like we're heading into a recession. Again, leading indicators showing that we're in recession. Now let's go ahead and take a look at another chart, the Conference Board Leading Economic Index component contributions. The thing to take a look at here is to notice that you got gray's December and gray is November and blue is December. If you look at the grays here, everything in the gray, you got a couple of things over here. You got a couple of things that are positive for November. Okay. And then we don't want positive. That's sad to say, but right now we don't want positive. We want things in the negative. But for the most part, everything else is in the negative. Almost everything. And in December, there's nothing. There's no blue on the right. There's nothing showing that anything is positive. And again, another strong leading indicator of recession. And for the last chart that I'll bore you with for recession is this one right here. And this chart is saying that every time we hit this red line, we're heading into a recession. Okay, well, actually it says right there, recession signal. And right now at the blue, we're way below that red line. So we know that we are heading into recession. All leading indicators are saying that we're heading into recession, but what happens in recessions? Job loss. Job losses are through the roof. Let's go ahead and hear what they're saying on the Kudlow report.
Way, if I can get this out, hold on one second. You got some layoff announcements today. 18,000 layoffs at Amazon, 11,000 at Meta, Facebook, 10,000 at Microsoft, which is really a fabulous company, 8,000 at Salesforce. Goldman Sachs having big layoffs too. So we may see some softer employment numbers. But Joe Livornia.
Now, that's not it. I mean, look, if you take a look at it, those companies are huge, right? But that's not all the tech sectors. If you take a look at the tech sectors, I mean, take a look at this. Pretty much everybody is laying off. Everybody. And if you could take a look at the mortgage field, my field that I'm in, there's been probably over 30,000 layoffs. Easy. So when mortgage lays off, that means people aren't buying homes. That means realtors aren't making money. That means people aren't heading to Home Depot and to Lowe's and to the furniture stores. And then when those people are slowing down, they have to lay off, right? And when they lay off, then those people aren't going to the department stores to buy stuff. They're not going to Amazon to buy stuff. They're deciding not to get rid of a lot of unnecessary items. And this is where the unnecessary items are, right? People will stop going to Amazon. People will maybe cancel Netflix, cancel Spotify, Capital One, stop using credit cards or start using credit cards. Who the heck knows? But the point of the matter is when you slow down, what do you have to do in order to maintain profitability? You have to get rid of fixed costs. And fixed costs help the company per se, but it really, really hurts the economy. Deflation is one of the worst things that can happen, but it looks like we're going to have to go through it in order to bring us back. So for everyone that's going through a struggling time, I apologize. Hopefully things are going to be turning around the corner soon. As I mentioned in the past, I do believe that the next 4, 5, 6 months are going to be really rough. However, I do think there's going to be a soft landing like the Fed's been saying, and I think by the end of the year, everything's going to be picking up. I hope I'm right, and hopefully things maybe get a little bit better. But nevertheless, that's my forecast for the rest of the year. If you have any questions, give me a call. If you need anything, let me know. And remember, life's not meant to be, it's meant to create. Too strong.